Welcome back to another episode. Today we're going to be talking about Gadgeteer. I know we discontinued Gadgeteer, but what does that mean? Gadgeteer is two parts. It's the hardware and the software. The combination of the two is what creates the Gadgeteer as a whole. But that does not mean if you lose one part, you're losing the other. For example, there's no Gadgeteer designer anymore going in the future. You cannot just drag and drop your modules virtually into the designer and then it picks up the drivers for you. There will be no Gadgeteer wrappers, for example. But all these things are added to make Gadgeteer easier, more beginner friendly, more student friendly. But that does not mean you cannot just add the drivers manually. This is the case on every other breakout you find on the market. You grab, for example, an Arduino and then an Arduino Shield. You go find the driver, you put the driver in. There is no drag and drop. And a lot of times it's an Arduino compatible board and then you have to make some changes. That's still valid over here. So all these modules that we have for Gadgeteer, you can still take these and use them with other mainboards or other boards that are not Gadgeteer. And the Gadgeteer mainboard, the processor board, you can also expand on it using modules that are not Gadgeteer. In this example right here, I have a Gadgeteer mainboard. I have the power supply, of course, the power module, and then a LED strip and a potentiometer. All these are Gadgeteer standard modules. But then on this side, I have used the breakout module to take the pins coming from the socket and put these on a breadboard. Now I can wire whichever I want. For this basic example, I have an LED. Now I can control an LED. This could be something else. It could be any sensor that I can grab off eBay, let's say, and still use it with my mainboard. Now we can look at this and a lot of people forget about this. You can take the breakout and connect it to a module, not just a mainboard. So if I want this potentiometer connected to my Fez Cobra or Fez Panda, I can still do that. I would take the breakout module connected to the potentiometer, and now I have everything pinned out, and I can wire it to whichever system I have. Now, this is as far as expanding the system when it comes to the hardware. When it comes to the software, all the software and the hardware is open source. So you can use that as a reference to make changes. As far as software, you can build your own drivers. Sometimes you don't even need to look at the drivers. For example, the potentiometer. It's just an analog output. I can see A on the socket if I'm not very sure. A on the socket, it's an analog device. Looking at the schematic, I can see it's pin 3 is where the potentiometer is connected to on the socket pin 3. This is an analog value on pin 3. I can take that and connect it to my system. So it goes for any other modules. For more complex modules, you can use the existing Gadgeteer driver as a source and modify it. For this demo here, I have a potentiometer that I can move, and now I'm controlling the LED strip, and I have a blinking LED. There's no Gadgeteer software running here whatsoever. It's just pure native code that is NetMF that's native to this board. So if it's NetMF or if it's whatever system you have, you can still code it. These modules were simple, basic. I did not need to go and reference the Gadgeteer drivers. I just look at the schematic, analog input, analog output. Those are straightforward. I was able to use it that way. If you have something more advanced, reference the Gadgeteer source code. Again, I still think this is a beautiful system. It's very neat how you can lay it out. I'm really sad personally to see it go. I spent years with Gadgeteer, and I hope that the coming years, you guys will still continue to use Gadgeteer. You'll make your own modules, use the mainboards, create your own mainboards, or maybe improve on, or maybe somebody else will pick up Gadgeteer and make something amazing out of it. At this point, this is where we are with Gadgeteer, and I really hope you find this useful, and now you have a way of looking at Gadgeteer from a different angle, and you would still consider using the gear you might already have for your next design. Thank you very much, and we'll see you next week.